All right, we're gonna read some Toni Morrison's Beloved. Let's see how that goes. So, who is Toni Morrison? Toni Morrison was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in Literature in 1993. She was the author of 11 novels, including The Bluest Eye, Sula, Beloved, which we're reading right now, Paradise and Love. She received the National Book Critics Circle Award and Pulitzer Prize for her fiction and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor, in 2012 by Barack Obama. And Toni Morrison later died on August 5th, 2019 at the age of 88. Damn, so she's a Hall of Famer. D1. She's a D1 Hall of Famer, y'all. D1 Hall of Famer. All right. Okay, let's continue. We can skip that, skip that, skip that. Romans 9:25, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. All right. Introduction. As soon as I read The Bluest Eye in 1981. Oh, wait. Forward. Can we get to the actual book? All right, Beloved. All right, there it is. Part 1. See, how long is part 1? Bro, how long is this? I don't think I skipped anything. All right, let's just read a few pages. 124 was spiteful, full of a baby's venom. The women in the house knew it, and so did the children. For years, each put up with a spite in his own way. But by 1873, Seth and her daughter Denver were its only victims. The grandmother, Baby Suggs, was dead, and the sons, Howard and Boogler, had run away by the time they were 13 years old. As soon as merely looking in a mirror shattered it, that was a signal for Boogler. Okay, as soon as 2 tiny handprints appeared in the cake, that was it for Howard. Neither boy waited to see more. Another kettle full of chickpeas smoking in a heap of the flour. Soda crackers crumbled and strewn in a line next to the door sill. Okay, strewn. Does that mean like, what the hell does strewn mean? Scattered over a loose area? Okay. What about this? Oh, okay. A horizontal ledge. Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. Nor did they wait for one of the relief periods, the weeks, months even, when nothing was disturbed. No, each one fled at once. The moment the house committed that was for him the one insult not to be borne or witnessed a second time. Within 2 months, at the dead of winter, leaving their grandmother, Baby Suggs, Seth, their mother, and their little sister Denver all by themselves in the gray and white house on Bluestone Road. It didn't have a number then, because Cincinnati didn't stretch that far. In fact, Ohio had been calling itself a state only 70 years when first one brother and then the next stuffed quilt packing into his hat snatched up by his shoes, and crept away from the lively spite the house felt for them. Baby Suggs didn't even raise her head. From her sick bed, she heard them go, but that wasn't the reason she still lay. It was a wonder to her that her grandsons had taken so long to realize that every house wasn't like the one on Bluestone Road. Suspended between the nastiness of life and the meanness of the dead, she couldn't get interested in leaving life or living it, let alone the fright of two creeping off boys. Her past had been like her present, intolerable, and since she knew death was anything but forgetfulness, she used the little energy left for pondering color. Bringing a little lavender in, if you got any, pink, if you don't. And Seth would oblige her with anything from fabric to her own tongue. Winter in Ohio was especially rough if you had an appetite for color. Sky provided the only drama, and counting on Cincinnati horizon for life's principal joy was reckless indeed. So Seth and the girl Denver did what they could and what the house permitted for him. Together they waged a perfunctory battle against the outrageous behavior of the place, against turned over slop jars, smacks on the behind, and gusts of sour air. Perfunctory. Let's see, what's perfunctory mean? Oh, it's like a prerequisite, basically. Okay, so what does it mean then? Gotcha. Okay, Tony. The first big word for they understood the source of the outrage as well as they knew the source of light. Baby Suggs died shortly after the brothers left, with no interest whatsoever in their leave taking of hers, and right afterward, Seth and Denver tried to end the persecution by calling forth the ghost that tried them. So, perhaps a conversation, they thought, an exchange of views or something would help. So they held hands and said, "Come on, come on. You may as well just come on." The sideboard took a step forward, but nothing else did. "Grandma Baby must be stopping it," said Denver. "She was 10 and still mad at Baby Suggs for dying." Seth opened her eyes. "I doubt that," she said. "Then why didn't it come?" "You're forgetting how little it is," said her mother. "She wasn't even 2 years old when she died. Too little to understand. Too little to talk much even." "Maybe she don't want to understand," said Denver. "Maybe. But if she'd only come, I could make it clear to her." Seth released her daughter's hand, and together they pushed the sideboard back against the wall. Outside, a driver whipped his horse into the gallop. Local people felt unnecessary when they passed 124. "For a baby, she throws a powerful spell," said Denver. "No more powerful than the way I loved her," Seth answered. And there was again the welcoming cool of unchiseled headstones, the one she selected to lean against on tiptoe, her knees wide open as any grave. Pink as a fingernail it was, and sprinkled with glittering chips. "10 minutes," he said. "You got 10 minutes. I'll do it for free." 10 minutes for 7 letters? With another 10, could she have gone dearly too? She had not thought to ask him, and it bothered her still that it might have been possible that for 20 minutes, a half hour, say, she could have had the whole thing. Every word she heard the preacher say at the funeral, and all there was to say, surely, engraved on her baby's forehead, stone, on her baby's headstone. Dearly beloved. But what she got, settled for, was the one word that mattered. She thought it would be good enough. Running among the headstones with the engraver, his young son looking on. The anger in his face is so old, the appetite in it quite new. And that should certainly be enough. Enough to answer one more preacher, one more abolitionist, and a town full of disgust. Counting on the stillness of her own soul, she had forgotten the other one, the soul of her baby girl. Who would have thought that a little old baby could harbor so much rage? Running among the stones under the eyes of the engraver's son was not enough. Not only did she have to live out her years in a house palsied by the baby's fury at having its throat cut, but those 10 minutes she spent pressed up against dawn-colored stone studded with star chips, her knees wide open as the grave, were longer than life, more alive, more pulsating than the baby blood that soaked her fingernails like oil. Damn. Oh, she's spitting right now. Hold on. And the house palsied. Palsied. What does that even mean? Chat, what does palsy mean? I hope y'all know. Affected by a palsy, which causes weakness, shaking, or loss of muscle control. Right there. It can be used literally for a medical condition. His hands were palsied and translated. Gotcha. All right. So we could move, she suggested once to her mother-in-law. What would be the point? Asked Baby Suggs. Not a house in the country ain't packed to its rafters with some dead Negro's grief. We lucky this ghost is a baby. My husband's spirit was to come back in here. Or yours. Don't talk to me. You lucky. You got 3 left. 3 pulling at your skirts and just 1 raising hell from the other side. Be thankful. Why don't you? I had 8. Every one of them gone away from me. 4 taken. 4 chased. And all, I expect, worrying somebody's house into evil. Baby Suggs rubbed her eyebrows. My firstborn, all I can remember of her is how she loved the burned bottom of bread. Can you beat that? You children, and that's all I remember? That's all you let yourself remember, Seth had told her. But she was down to one herself, one alive. That is, the boys chased off by the dead one. And her memory of Boogler was fading fast. Howard at least had a head shape nobody could forget. As for the rest, she worked hard to remember as close to nothing as was safe. Unfortunately, her brain was devious. She might be hurrying across the field, running practically to get to the pump quickly and rinse the chamomile sap from her legs. Nothing else would be in her mind. The picture of the men coming to nurse her was as lifeless as the nerves in the back where the skin buckled like a wash. Oh my gosh! Nor was there the faintest sense of ink or the cherry gum and oak bark from which it was made. Nothing. Just the breeze cooling her face as she rushed toward water, and then sopping the chamomile away with pump water and rags. Her mind fixed on getting every last bit of sap off, on her carelessness in taking a shortcut across the field just to save half a mile, and not noticing how high the weeds had grown until itching was all the way to her knees. Then something, the plash of water, the sight of her shoes, the stockings awry in the path where she had flung them, or here boy lapping in the puddle near her feet, and suddenly there was a sweet home rolling out before her eyes. And although there was not a leaf on that farm that did not make her want to scream, it rolled itself out before her in shameless beauty. Ooh. She's cooking right now. I'm trying to understand what they're saying. I don't even know what they mean. Ari means not as planned. It's wrong or out of place. It went Ari. It went haywire type of thing. Yeah. It never looked as terrible as it was, and it made her wonder if hell was a pretty place too. Fire and brimstone, all right, but hidden in lacy groves, boys hanging from the most beautiful sycamores in the world. It shamed her, remembering the wonderful soughing trees rather than the boys. Soughing trees? What? The soft moaning or whispering sound trees make when wind passes through their brain. Oh, okay, got you. It seemed her remembering the wonderful soughing trees rather than her boys. Try as she might to make it otherwise, the sycamores beat out the children every time, and she could not forgive her memory for that. Yeah, that's what happens when you're a grandma. Damn. Let me see. Let's see what this one. Ooh. Sycamore tree is a large, deciduous tree known for its broad leaves. Okay. All right. That's the first part of me reading Beloved by Toni Morrison. Gonna read more soon. We're gonna get better this year, 2026. We're gonna get better. If anyone could decipher what that part meant that I just read, I really appreciate it. I was trying to understand. Her writing is so advanced, I couldn't even understand that. But yeah, have a blessed day. Y'all stay safe. We gonna get better in 2026. You know what I'm saying? I'll be posting a lot of basketball content. My next What If is gonna come very soon. But in the meantime, I'll be working on my reading. But yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all, man. Have a blessed day.